Hello and welcome to this series of lectures on Z transform. We have seen the meaning of Z transform, how to solve the numericals on Z transform, what is the need of Z transform, how Z transform is an important tool for analysis of LTI systems. We have seen inverse Z transform. To compute the inverse Z transform, we saw partial fraction expansion method, we saw long division method, which is also called as a power series expansion method. Now, with regards to Z transform, how Z transform can be used for analysis of LTI systems, that we will be discussing here, and the properties of LTI systems, which is mainly causality and stability. How Z transform helps us to investigate these properties, that we will be discussing in this lecture in short. Okay, so Z transform, as we know, we have seen the property of Z transform, that convolution in time domain is multiplication in frequency domain. Okay, so when we are talking about an LTI system, so when we are having an LTI system, so LTI system has an input x of n. So we have an input called as x of n to LTI system. LTI system has an impulse response which is h of n. Impulse response of LTI system is h of n, and the output of LTI system is y of n. Output of LTI system is y of n. Okay, so if we take the convolution, so y of n can be written as x of n convolved with h of n. So output of any system can be found by convolving the input with the impulse response. Now, how to express this in the Z domain? Simply take the Z transform of this equation. So we have seen the property of Z transform. Convolution in time domain is equal to multiplication in frequency domain. So this convolution will get transferred, will get modified to multiplication. So y of n Z transform is y of z, x of n Z transform is x of z, h of n Z transform is h of z. Okay, so this h of z is called as a transfer function. It is a very important thing. Okay, transfer function is a very important thing. Okay, so this transfer function helps us to investigate so many properties of LTI system. So by using Z transform, we can convert the time domain signals into frequency domain representation of in the Z domain and investigate the transfer function and its and analyze the LTI system. Similar, the impulse response and step response. Now, if you see h of n, which is called as the impulse response of the system, which is the response of the system for del of n as an input. So, if when you give del of n as an input to LTI system, whatever output we are getting, that is called as the impulse response. If we take the Z transform of this impulse response, it is nothing but h of z. This h of z is the h of z is the impulse, the Z transform of the impulse response. Now, step response. What is a step response? Step response is the response of an LTI system for step signal input. So this is your step signal input u of n. What is the Z transform of u of n? The Z transform of u of n is 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1. This is a standard pair. Okay, the impulse response, the Z transform of u of n is 1 upon z raised to 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1. Okay, so it is 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1. So this is how we write the step response. Step response is the convolution of h of n and u of n, because I told you that step response is the response of the system for u of n as an input. So for a step response, we have seen the input is u of n. So input to a LTI system is u of n, and h of n is its impulse response. So h of n convolved with u of n. So h of n convolved with u of n, you will get s of n. So h of n convolved with u of n, h of n convolved with u of n, you will get s of n. So if we take the Z transform of this equation, so Z transform of h of k is h of z, Z transform of this is 1 upon 1 minus z raised to minus 1. So simply if I rearrange the terms, I will get h of z is equal to s of z minus z raised to minus 1 s of z. Okay, and if I take the inverse Z transform of this, okay, using the time shifting property of Z transform, I'll get the equation h of n is equal to s of n minus s of n minus 1. So what is the conclusion about this equation? Okay, this equation is a very important equation. Its conclusion is that impulse response, okay, the first difference of step response gives the impulse response. So if you take the difference, or if you take the subtraction of the first two step responses, s of n and s of n minus 1, you will get the impulse response. So this is the relation between the impulse response and step responses. And Obviously this is also the relation between del of n and u of n. So del of n also can be written as u of n minus u of n minus 1. So del of n is equal to u of n minus u of n minus 1. This we have seen in the first lecture, first unit, okay, in the section 1. So this is u, okay. So del of n is equal to u of n minus u of n minus 1. Similarly, you can write h of n is equal to s of n minus s of n minus 1. But here h of n is the impulse response, here del of n is the h of n is the impulse response, del of n is the impulse signal, u of n is the step signal, here s of n is the step response, okay. So this way you have to remember. Now discussing about the causality and stability. This is a very important thing. Now causality and stability are very important properties of any system. So when it is concerned, when we are concerned with the LTI system, that is linear time invariant systems, the systems which satisfy the property of linearity and time invariance. Now how to investigate the causality? So we say that an LTI system is causal if its impulse response is causal. This is the simplest definition. So what do you mean by causal signal? A causal signal is a signal which is 0 for n less than 0. So if h of n is equal to 0 for n less than 0, or it is a right-sided sequence, then since my impulse response is causal, okay, the system is causal. So it is very important that if I want to find the causality of a LTI system, I have to look at its impulse response. So if the impulse response is causal, the system is causal. If the impulse response is not causal, the system is not causal. So this is the simple interpretation about the causality. Now what about the stability? Stability, a system, LTI system is said to be stable if its ROC contains the unit circle. So whenever we plot the ROC of Z transform, okay, we specify the region. So exterior to this circle, interior to this circle, this is how we specify. So this is our Z plane, and in this we have the circle. So here we are having real part of Z, here we are having the imaginary part of Z, okay, and here we are having this A. So this is why circle. So whether it is exterior to this or interior to this, so I have to see where my unit circle lies. If it is a causal signal and my if it is a causal signal and my ROC is exterior to this circle, okay, and if the unit circle is lying inside this ROC, so if this A is equal to say 0.5 and my here 1 is here, okay, unit circle is outside this A, and this unit circle contains the ROC contains the unit circle, then my system is stable. In this case my system is stable. But if your ROC is like this same thing, but instead of here my unit circle is here, okay, unit circle is here, and this is a causal system and A is greater than 1, that is A is equal to 2, then in this case my system is not stable because the ROC does not contain the unit circle. So this is very important. So whenever we plot the ROC, we have to see where is the unit circle. So if the unit circle is lying inside the ROC, then the system is stable, and if it is not lying inside the ROC, then the system is not stable. So this is the simple criteria to understand the stability of the LTI system looking at its Z transform or looking at its ROC. Now the question arises, like, what will be the condition for a stable and causal LTI system? So how we can check whether a system is causal and stable both? So the thing is simple. I can combine these two conditions now. I can tell that for my LTI system to be causal and stable, first thing is the ROC should be exterior to a circle, because ROC has to be in the form mod of Z greater than something, greater than A, greater than something. Okay. So it has to be greater than, because for causal we have to have greater than, and when it is greater than means it will be exterior to the circle, and I have to see where is the unit circle now. If the unit circle is lying inside the ROC of mod of Z greater than A, then my system is stable and causal both. And if it is not, then my system may be causal, but it may not be stable. So to satisfy the condition of causality and stability both, I should have the condition that my ROC mod of Z should be greater than A, that is the first condition, and my unit circle, it should lie inside the ROC, that is the second condition.